Hi, Minister. Your response to Coretta McDonald's claim of government forcing persons to work in unsafe circumstances, speaking to the pandemic.
First thing is that I would want to say that the nation now is recognizing that the opposition members in parliament, they're a special breed of liars. Now, when I got to the ministry and when we took over government, the government did not even attempt to suggest to occupation safety and health officers that this now becomes one of their responsibility because the issue of the pandemic is a health and safety issue. That we did. We have a robust relationship with the Ministry of Health that is guiding and helping the ministry as regards that matter. And therefore, you would know that when we didn't have information, you couldn't properly plan in the early stages of the pandemic. Now you have information, and now therefore you can plan properly because you have a better understanding of. Like in the early days, we were told all of us we have to put on a mask, among the things. But now, if you're 6 feet apart in a building, you can take your mask off. The doctors have recommended that. So many things have changed. And therefore, properly, when we got into office, they had workers on rotation. But the rotation was nothing. Nothing in the sense that there was no work being done because there was no structure to continue. Because when a man left his desk, or a woman left her desk, who was on rotation for that 3 days, there was nothing that allowed for the person who would come in to continue that. And therefore the public had to wait until the person they were engaging returned back to work. So those are some of the things we have had. Other issue is, Coretta McDonald speak glowingly about health and safety. When we took over, they had 9 occupation safety and health officers. We have increased that to 33-fold. And we will be putting in every region for the first time. You would have at least 2 OSH officers in every region in this country. We would subdivide Region 4 into 3 sub-districts: East Coast, East Bank, and Georgetown. So if you cared about workers' safety and health, the question is why you did not employ more safety and health officers whilst people were dying. In 2020, over 32 persons died in workplace accidents. Secondly, over 300 persons got injuries in workplace that were non-fatal. And all of this they knew, but yet they did not increase the complement of health and safety and health officers to supervise and to manage health and safety in the workplace. Other important issue people must know. The government paid no attention to health and safety in public sector agencies. It is the first time you would have health and safety officers now that will be visiting public sector organizations. All their attention was on private sector. Whilst in the public sector itself, you might have had, and you have had, I have witnessed it, I have traveled this country, some of the worst breaches I have seen as regards safety and health for employees. I have seen it in public sector entities. I don't want to name the agencies. Some of them have remedied themselves. Other thing, the law says every business, once you have more than 19 employees, you must have a health and safety committee. That was being kept in the breach. Companies, very few companies, as I speak to you. Now we are working along with them to develop health and safety committees. We are doing training, both in the private sector and public sector, because my instructions to the officers is that the same attention you pay to private sector, you must pay to the public sector, because the law is for everybody. The same way how you would give a citation to Mr. Ned at GT&T, you must go down the road and give one to the head of GGMC and the Ministry of Health, so that workers can feel safe regardless who they work for. Labor issues, unresolved issues that we brought in. She spoke glibly about the what you call it, the government increase of the minimum wage, increase of the minimum wage. And you know, these people are so dumb that you would have a labor leader saying to the House that the minimum wage is a private sector minimum wage. It's not a private sector minimum wage. It's a national minimum wage. You follow me? This minimum wage raise is a national minimum wage. It's not specific to private sector, right? So that's the first point. The second issue is they had the recommendation since 2019 March to raise the minimum wage, the agreement within the tripartite commission. 1 year it didn't meet. The last time it met was 2019 March. I had to reconstitute one to start this conversation over about the increase of the minimum wage. The Trade Union Recognition Board was not in place. I appointed it. So you had all of these labor matters, recognition of unions and so lingering there for years because you had no board. So those are some of the things these people come and they patently lie about things that in a second you can verify it. And we have seen it over yesterday, you know, in the areas of education, where Nicolette Henry, she comes there, and in 20 minutes, 5 blatant lies that in seconds you can verify. So the people of Guyana, they recognize, and if you follow the comments on social media, even from their supporters, right now what we have in this parliament is a mismatch. And you know, I predicted that since the first day, that we will come and we present programs and plans for the development of this country, and all we would get is a set of banality and profanity and all the things that are puerile and childish coming from the opposition. And that, my prediction is borne out. Every day you're seeing it, it is getting more ridiculous at times. Last night you had, I mean, I've been, as I've said to people, 22 years I've been in this parliament, you know, and last night you had the Great Clown Show. A representative, I mean, the nation should be shocked and sorry that a regional member of parliament representing a region, what he put out there last night as a presentation for a budget debate or any debate in the National Assembly. And so it shows the caliber of persons that they have in this National Assembly, that sometimes you get so aggravated because they're not even putting you in a place to really have a good debate. Because nothing really is coming from the other side of substance.
Minister, the occupation safety and health officers increased to 30, you mentioned, and there will be 6 in Region 4. When can we see the 2 in every region happening?
As I speak to you, we have had recommendations coming from all the regions except 7 and 8 as I speak. And those are being processed right now by the Permanent Secretary. Once all the procedural things are over, we would forward them to the Public Service Ministry as regards hiring these persons and training them and sending them back into their region. Because the thing is, everyone from a region, everyone who will be appointed in a region, they have to be from the region. Those are my instructions. And so we have recommendations, as I've said, from the different regional councils and we are reviewing those so that we can train people, appoint them, and send them back in their communities to work.
Minister, in your budget speech, your contribution to the debates, you mentioned that your officers will be trained in Spanish, Portuguese, and Mandarin. When can we see this starting?
As I speak to you, I got an email this morning from the officers who are dealing with the matter, the CEO of Board of Industrial Training and the Chief Labor Officer. Presently, they're tying up arrangements with the people to do that. The person who had started the project for us, that is the Portuguese, died a couple days ago. And we now learned that. So we have to now look for a new trainer, tutor in Portuguese. So we have officers who are prepared and ready to start. That will start very shortly. Days I'm talking about. Once they have tied up all the other issues, I suspect of financial type, with the person who is to do the training. We will also, as you mentioned, also have officers to be trained in Spanish. And that is preparation for the influx of migrants into this country. Mandarin, I have had conversations with the outgoing ambassador from China, who they have made commitments to us. And just the other day, the chief counselor, we were together at an activity they had that I spoke at the Chinese embassy, the Chinese association, where I engaged Chinese business people in this country to seek for us to work in collaboration to dealing with matters that are work-related, whether it be OSH or labor relations. And so that we will do, but the first set of programs are in Portuguese. And once that is concluded, we will have other officers start the Spanish class. Also, the new officers that are coming in, they also have to be participate in these classes, because I want across the spectrum where the officers, they know other languages. Importantly in all of that, we will be training officers in specialized skills. So in occupation safety and health, we will train officers who are specialized in oil and gas, who specialize in construction, and specialize in mining, in forestry, and agriculture. So whilst we have a core, we will have specialists in specific areas of the economy. And those are our plans. We have had several commitments from persons who will help us in that regard. We have joint technical committees that we've established just this week with people from AmCham who have been supporting us with the same health and safety and health issues. I met with them just this week, Tuesday or thereabout, to concretize the plans and programs we have and what part they could play. Also, next April is what you call Occupation Safety and Health Month, and we plan to launch our public awareness campaign and PR campaign, and hopefully we have the new staff already hired so we can showcase them to the Guyanese people.